Hi Aries, welcome to my channel. It's Veroosh and we're going to do a reading for Venus Retrograde. I know some of you guys might think I'm a little late with this, and I probably am, but the most important part of Venus Retrograde is actually at the end, so we're not missing much. I'm going to do tarot and astrology for you guys today. There's also going to be a collective reading to break down the transits because it's too complicated to explain for every single sign. Make sure you're watching for your sun, for your moon, and your rising. I know there's split information out there on what to watch for. I believe that the sun is a very good indicator of what's going to happen in your life. So both sun, moon, and rising all have information for you. So depending on what you're looking for, you might find an answer there. Venus, Mars, North Node, MC, all of those transits, if you're a little bit more into astrology, also work. So why don't we first take a look at the cards, and it is going to be the heart-shaped spread. If you've never seen me do the heart-shaped spread before, because I haven't done it in a while, I'll explain it for you now. So your overall card is the moon. So the moon is Pisces energy. That doesn't mean you have to have Pisces energy. I just mentioned the different associations just in case it's applicable to someone. But generally the moon is saying that you're in an unclear situation with regard to your relationships at this time. You may not know where you stand with people when it starts, and I know exactly why. We'll talk about this more in the astrology. The reason for this is that you have been working so much, and so much has been happening for you in your career that your personal relationships have taken a tumble. I'm not sure why there's all this kind of its recording is kind of like you see the little flies or whatever, the little bugs. I don't know. It's not real bugs. It's just some technical thing, but I'm just going to keep going. So now I'll pick a couple cards for your kind of aspirations with regard to love for this time. So we have Judgment, which is ruled by Pluto. Pluto's going to be so important over the next 2 months, so we'll talk about that in a minute and in the collective. And then we have the World. Okay, so you're looking to expand your horizons. You're looking to get more out of circumstances. You want to challenge whatever is going on for you at this time to make your life richer. I think that overall you have been putting a lot of effort into your life, and you have been putting a lot of effort into your life to achieve a certain quality of life or some types of goals, and that will continue for the next couple months, the opportunities and the success and so forth. But once again, you're kind of longing for your personal relationships to improve, to be closer with the people you know, and if you're single, to find someone. And I think you're ready to make a decision to commit to building that for yourself. You feel maybe you have achieved whatever it is that you were working towards, and now you're more focused on building out your relationships. Notice that it's all higher arcana, which is always something significant. Oh, another higher arcana, we have the High Priestess. This represents the other energy around you. This could be your partner, or this could be the general energy around you if you're single. So I have a feeling that the people around you know what's up. They know some good things have come into your life and that you're focusing. So I don't think that you're rubbing anybody and stepping on any toes or anything like that. I think they understand that you have good opportunities and they want you to succeed. So I feel like there's a understanding around you about the circumstances. Look, we have the Lovers. So all higher arcana right away. It really seems as though there is very strong support around you, very strong energies of love. And so, and I think that, yeah, very strong energies of love, strong energy of support. I don't think that people misunderstand the nature of your relationship. And I think that if you're distracted in some way, they know what's going on. They know that you have some opportunities, that you're busy. So, your feelings are, I would say, yours alone if you feel like you're letting others down. I think they really do understand. And it's normal to be busy with school or busy with work or some type of success, and then feeling like you haven't done enough for the people you care about, or you haven't spent enough time on your social life to build your connections and network. Okay, So I want to show you guys the astrology of Venus retrograde, which is right here in your 10th house. So for you, Venus retrograde is in the 10th house of career and public circumstances. A very prominent position to have Venus transit. The retrograde cycle is in 5 different signs throughout the whole life. It goes back a little bit, and it has already switched signs into Gemini from another sign 20 years ago or something like that. But overall, the Venus retrograde cycles are moving in this kind of pattern through the 5 different signs. And so one of the signs is Capricorn, and for you, this is your 10th house of career and public standing. So this retrograde cycle is a repeat of a retrograde that happened 8 years ago, 8 years ago, between 2013 and 2014. To get familiar with how that impacted you personally, I really suggest that you go back to that time and think about it. But I think that it's also kind of helpful for you to remember that history does not mirror itself. It's an echo. It's a great saying. So don't expect the same things to come up, but just some energetic frequencies will be similar. Venus retrograde in the 10th house, you probably already have addressed some work-oriented issues. You've probably worked through some issues with others and figured out your bearings with regard to that. Your personal relationships and your reputation may be getting an overhaul or a reset through this time. So this is all good energy for your public standing, for your social networks. The world has been calling your name, Aries, and so it's been time for you to shine and connect with all that. Venus retrograde started in December, end of December of 2021, and will continue until January 28th. But the most important part is now. That's why the videos are coming out now instead of previously. And there was a passing, the sun passed a Venus on January 8th, and so now she's behind the sun, and so therefore there's more things happening, and then for us, we reflect on it after things happen. So it's a more active time, it's a more reflective time on the things that are happening around us. So things will happen in our lives, and then what's happening in terms of the heart is happening after. I don't know if I made that clear. There's a sequence of transits, and this is where I'll talk about this in the collective, that Venus is making. And I want to highlight a couple for you guys now, but Venus and Mars are going to begin a series of conjunctions, which actually began last July. Venus and Mars tend to go back and forth. They're inner planets. And so these conjunctions are going to work out your relationship with others. So whether you date women, same sex, opposite sex, whatever, you're working out your relationships with others and the nuances between you and people in your life, particularly in the loving quality of circumstances. But in the 10th house, it could also be things like, you know, your standing with your coworkers and so forth, where you stand with people. Venus retrograde has a lot to do, like all retrograde cycles, with correcting mistakes. So things that weren't happening in the way they should have or whatever, get an opportunity to get fixed and corrected. And so through this time, Venus and Mars will be forming a conjunction on specifically February 4th, and will then travel together and enter into Aquarius together on March 5th, at which time Venus will pass Mars and carry on. She's faster than Mars, but when she is retrograde, she slows down a bit, so Mars is able to catch up to her for a period of time until she picks up speed again. Now, this is just for those of you who are new to astrology. Venus doesn't actually go backwards in the sky. It's all optical in our perception. So just to be clear, she's not actually moving backwards. It's just our observation of her appears as though she's moving back. Okay, so Venus and Mars are going to go back and forth like this. This has a lot to do with feminine and masculine energy dynamics. I prefer like yin and yang energy, so the active principle and the passive principle are interacting. And if that's too abstract, basically the assertive things in your life are working themselves with the passive or the receptive. And so whatever dynamics in your social life or whatever are getting worked out in your public life, there's a correction. So if there was an overstep in the yang energy, in the active energy, somebody overstepped their behavior, that might get balanced out with the passive. Or if the passive was in somehow poorly, didn't speak up for itself or didn't receive something well that it should have, like if you didn't if you didn't take some information from the world that the world was giving you at a time, and you just avoided a situation without processing it, you might be experiencing that now. And most likely this will have to do with human relationships. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. You may have already been seeing that. Again, the positive of doing a Venus retrograde video now is that you already know some of the energy that has come up for you personally, right? So you're aware of how it's affecting you and kind of where your heart is at, which I'm pointing to the cards here, that where your heart is at, what you're looking for, what people around you are saying and doing. I think that you're experiencing a certain degree of guilt. I want to step in to say that I filmed your guys' video yesterday, but I wasn't happy with it. So members will get the original video whenever I make a video that I decide not to publish for everybody. Members get it, so you guys get a bonus. So some of what I'm saying is informed by that first reading. And it seemed as though you feel guilty for being busy, in short. And so I think that some of that will be addressing that. And I actually don't think that the people around you hold that against you, but I don't think it's something that you can continue. So in lieu of talking about yang and yin energy, the masculine Mars yang, right? The active principle, you working, you going out, is out of balance of receiving relationships, and the yin energy of connecting with others. And so through this retrograde period, you might be working that out. And again, just to remind you, the time frame for this is between now, even now, January 25th when I'm filming, but definitely after the 4th of February towards the 14th is particularly a heightened time, but definitely March 5th. So we have like a nice long period in which they'll go back and forth. That's exciting. Watch the collective video for more information. The other aspect, and this is particularly important for January 25th through early February, is a trine to Uranus. So Venus is forming a trine to Uranus before she turns direct. And because she turns direct and is quite slow, she's in the same spot in the sky optically for a longer period of time. And that is a trine to Uranus. Now this happens periodically, like 3 times a year, but it's important for you because in some way Uranus is in the 2nd house. And so this trine between Venus and Uranus will help you resolve some financial issue. If you feel like you have a financial roadblock or something to do with money, this is going to be times, these trines that Venus is making to Uranus at this time will help you problem solve things that you didn't know how to deal with before. So again, this January, late January, early February piece is more about money, figuring out those kinds of things. And finally, just to touch base, the moon will be in Capricorn twice while Venus is finishing up her retrograde cycle and moving into Aquarius. And so the moon will transit 2 times, once right at the end of January, at the beginning of February, right before the new moon in Aquarius, which we'll do a separate video about, and I'll talk about this more there, and in February 27th, in which she will make a conjunction while transiting with Mars, so conjunct Mars in the same position as Mars, the moon, and Vesta. These are going to be powerful moments because the moon will evoke resolution to things. So again, you want to, for your personal relationships to resolve, one of the key dates may be January 29th and February 27th. So especially in terms of these career-like things where you stand in the world. The final thing is Mercury retrograde. We've talked about it already in the Mercury retrograde video. I recommend you check it out in your playlist down below. But Mercury retrograde, Mercury's going to re-enter, or is re-entering Capricorn on January 25th, the day that I'm filming, and will continue to retrograde until February 4th. Remember, February 4th is the day that Venus and Mars join in Capricorn, finally, after this back and forth since last July. So Mercury stations direct on February 4th and begins to move forward in Capricorn, so like right through here, until February 14th. At this time, it will enter into Aquarius on the 14th of February. But between the 4th and the 14th, Mars, Venus, Mercury will all be direct in Capricorn. And so therefore, that will be the time when your resolutions in terms of your relationships will come up. And for you, what I'm saying is that it's very likely that this is happening with regard to your career and your public life. Sorry if this was a little wordy. I'm still figuring out how to explain it all, and you happen to be the first sign I'm reading for, so I hope you're okay. I wanted to mention some of the announcements now, if that's okay. Like I said, there's a collective reading. Members' readings are not going to be an extension of this. There is going to be another reading in the members only section for every single sign, but that's going to be talking about spring love transits more so than these ones. So the next step, they're not fully ready yet. I still want to work through the astrology a bit before I do them, but if you're interested, they'll be up, and I will update the description when it's ready with a link. So members, thank you, and as always, you guys are great. If you want a private reading with me, then my site's not up, and so therefore you definitely want to go into the link in the description and get a reading with me that way. I'm also doing short form videos on YouTube now. I'm checking it out. I'm putting them on Tarot Talk just as we figure it out. So Tarot Talk is an old channel of mine that I barely use. It's not monetized. So shorts are not monetized. And so therefore, go check it out. I'm trying to do daily content. And so this is like videos under a minute. And I didn't want to spam the main channel, so I put it on this side channel. So if you're okay with getting, short videos from me about that, sorry, I don't know what that sound is. I think somebody's working in the building. Or a giant bee, a giant wasp has entered, one of those Asian wasps. Have you heard about them? They're like this size. They have entered the building. Okay, I'm just kidding. But anyway, so yes. If you are interested in a short video and don't mind the extra notifications, then please go over to Tarot Talk. Okay, so back to our reading. So there's some kind of regret. The moon is actually a really good card because it signals that somebody is like contemplating something. If someone doesn't feel bad about how things have been, then there's nothing to fix, right? And so the moon is sort of fixing it. So the fact that, somebody doesn't feel as though they've been as available to someone as they should have is probably helping them to improve things. Or maybe, if this isn't you who's feeling guilty, maybe the other person that you're thinking about is, and so in some way they are not maybe a sense of guilt, but awareness that things need to improve or they need to change how they're treating you. Whatever it is, I think you're very happy and very ready to make a decision and very feeling like the world is opening up for you and you want to go in every direction and try new things, which is great. Okay, so we have the Queen of Pentacles, Virgo, Taurus, or Capricorn next. She's a water sign on the other energy. I think that this is all reminding you of balance. What I wanted to tell you with the astrology, I don't know if I stressed this enough, but this transit will not last. So this is a temporary transit that's been around since 2019 periodically in your chart, in your career, giving you a big boost with regard to your career and your public life. This is not going to last, and it's actually in the tail end of it. So I do not recommend that you forego taking care of your career and reaching for opportunities. I think you need to do that. But I think this piece of self-awareness in your relationships is also important. And the Queen of Pentacles is sort of pointing to that, the balance between opportunities in your life and your personal relationships. So I think this is you essentially, whether you're a man or a woman. Okay, so then we have Temperance, which is Sagittarian energy. So this may be true for some. I think that somebody's like slow to move. And from the other video that I mentioned, that's also true. Somebody's slow to move. You might, it might be some time before things like work themselves out. It's almost, but it's sort of thawing, you know, their coldness. If you feel like iced out by your friends or iced out by the world, it's thawing. It's just taking its time. So there's some caution from the other side, from the world around you, be it your partner or, you know, just your general environment. And so people are cautious. They're cautious. They're not necessarily so, you know, fast to move on things, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Inside, I sense awareness. Inside, I sense value because it's the Lover's card. The next card is the Nine of Swords. And this is what I really see for you. And I don't mean to be like, I'm being very emphatic because I'm trying to communicate to you the nuance of this. I do see you as quite, maybe not upset, but in some degree bothered, worried, or anxious about where you stand with others. And then we have the Magician as the next. It says that you just need to be very proactive. The Magician always signals that, you know, you need to put in some effort, be assertive, you know, kind of do it yourself sort of energy. You have so much good energy around you, and it's really good to be self-aware. It's good to be aware in terms of what you are doing in your life that could be better. And like, I think for you, a priority is putting others more center in your life once again. I don't know what that sound is. They're doing some work in the building, but... Oh, here comes the wasp. Okay, so here is the next energy. So this is what the energy around you, like a message of how to understand it or some kind of advice. So we have Seven of Wands. Honestly, I'll just tell you, I just feel like the world around you is defensive towards you. It could be for other reasons, or if you're really kind of taking a look at it, it may be that they are in some way protecting themselves because of a perceived loss that they had experienced in the past. Either they're not sure whether or not you're going to be there, or possibly they just don't know. So I feel like either your partner or the world around you is testing things. And I think you should respect that, because they need to figure out what's really going on, right? You both need to figure out what's going on, but it's almost like you've been away on a business trip somewhere and you come back to your hometown, and they have their lives too. And so you re-entering their life in some way is something that they have to prepare for, that they have to get used to. So as a person who may be re-entering somebody else's life, I think that you have to be aware that, you know, you're coming back to them, and how does that look for them? What is this? I'm so sorry. I like this reading. I'm not going to turn it off. Knight of Cups, Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio, secondary transits in air, Gemini, Aquarius, or Libra. If you're waiting for an invitation from the other person or from someone around you, it's coming. Again, give it time. Let them figure it out. All this is saying that the feelings are true. They feel a little defensive, but the feelings are there, and there's an intention to move forward. Okay, so our outcome card is, we have the Four of Cups. So there is going to be an offer, and I think that you just need to really sit back and allow time to do its magic. And I think that things need to work out. Still prioritize your career. Prioritize your outside world. Now, let's recontextualize this for the 10th house. If you think that in your career, you're waiting for an offer, if you're wanting to, you know, get a promotion, or waiting for the offer to come in, then I think that on its time it will. And I think that there's positive sentiment behind that. And I really feel as though this is a time for you to be patient with the world around you to figure itself out. I think this is a strong feeling. This is a strong time for you to feel in which, what do you want, right? And there's definitely some assertiveness, meaning you're not supposed to just sit back and be passive. You need to take care of the things that are important to you while waiting for the initiation from this other party, the other person, the company, the outside world. You are getting invited to something. Okay? This was a little bit long, but my first reading always is. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoyed your Venus retrograde, and this is it for now. So I'll be back shortly. Talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.